What is up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 4 of Links to Labels. I am joined by Michael Zerah, the founder of the Mullie app. First, I just want to kick it off. I want to pass it to Michael. I want him to introduce himself so you guys can learn a little bit about him. We're going to talk about the PGA show. We were both there. And we're going to talk about the Mullie app, how he's grown it, how it started, where he sees it going in the future, and just kind of shoot the shit a little bit about it. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Michael.
Clayton, man, thanks, bud. I appreciate the intro. And guys, pleasure to be here and share the story of Mullie and my entrepreneur venture and what we're doing and how we're doing it. But man, like we've been talking, Clayton, we've been talking for what, like a few months now, I think, on the Mullie side of things. And I knew the face because your page, but never really got to meet you. And we met at the PGA show last week and ran into each other, big friend hugs as if we known each other for years. And I was like, hey man, what's this? Hey. So, but man, like, I just appreciate what you're doing for the game of golf. I think your page is one of the best pages there is in the golf space right now. Educational, fun, helping spread the gospel, not for the game, but the smaller brands that need a voice. So man, I really do like what you're doing and a pleasure to be talking to you right now.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment. And dude, crazy enough, I got a lot of that, like for the people I met at the show. And I think it's hard for me to see, like when I'm just grinding out content every day. But when you actually get to talk to people and they realize that you're just a genuine good dude, they open up a little bit and tell you these things. And it's so nice to hear things like that because it's a grind. Right. But it's a fun grind. And I'm glad to know that people are getting value out of it and that I'm helping other brands because that's the most important part. I like to tell people I was golfing with John Madera from Buena Gente the other day. And I just told him, like, I'm a small brand advocate. That's what I like to be. Like, look, I like the bigger brands too. Those are cool. But the smaller brands are the one, there's a lot of cool small brands out there. A lot of great founders, a lot of cool people. And they don't have the money to kind of create the stuff and push the message out there. So I'm glad and fortunate that I have the platform to help do that. So thank you for saying that, first of all.
Yeah, you're crushing it.
First thing I want to talk about is, yes, we did officially meet at the PGA show. Like, not even planned. We just kind of ran into each other back by the Senate booth, by the Eastside Golf booth.
We
hugged each other like we've known each other for years, which I think is a reflection of the golf community, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's that, like, you build relationships on social media, and it's like you've known each other forever. And that's how it was with, like, multiple people there, right? And I think that's been the best part about this all. It's cool to get free stuff. It's cool to get paid. But the best part is the relationships. Like, I swear I could probably have a
bro, you're getting
partner.
Free stuff? I want to get free stuff. I ain't getting nothing, dog. I get no free stuff.
Well, if we're the same size, I have plenty of stuff to share. Trust me.
All right.
But anyways, so I want to hear about kind of your experience at the PGA show. You were there, I think, 24 hours about in Orlando?
Dude, so this is that was my third show. I went to my first show. I'll give you guys a little intro to who I am, what I'm doing too. Cause Mullie, I forgot that part of the intro. Mullie, I'm a co-founder of Mullie, which is a marketplace. We call it the marketplace for golf that's expanding rapidly. But, those who aren't familiar with it, I just say it's like the Poshmark, Gray Old, StockX, Depop, but for golf, these peer-to-peer marketplaces. But the entrepreneurial route and what people see in movies or reading books or all that shit. It's like, can I curse on here? Is this a curse-free zone? Because I got to watch myself.
Be who you want to be.
Perfect. So, bro, it's so hard, man. Like, this is now, Mullie is my third business. But to rewind and make the story valuable, I had the idea when I was going through a really tough patch in my life, bro. Like, I was shutting down one of my businesses. I was in the process of like moving and, I was heavily in debt. Like, when I say heavily in debt, I mean, I was so far in debt from a business perspective that I should have filed bankruptcy, but my young ego was like, can't do that. So I resorted to selling golf clubs. I mean, like Mura sets, and like I've told this story a couple times, but it was so bad, dude. And I was selling golf clubs to pay bills. Like, guys, that's how bad it was. And of course, I went to where everyone goes, the Bay. We call it the Bay. And in 1 month, bro, I must have sold $10,000 worth of golf clubs. And I was like, cool, I can pay bills this month. And then I got hit with this eBay fee. At the time it was 10%. I think now it's like 13%. So I had to pay. I thought they took it out of the sale, but they don't. They invoice you later. So I was like, I got invoiced $1,000 at the end of the month. I'm like, I don't have it. Like, what? Like, why are you charging me this kind of money? Like, and then I read through their fees and their terms of service and stuff like that. And I was like, this is just stupid. This is ridiculous. I understand if they need to make money for their servers and stuff, and they need to make like $1 off a 10-cent item or $10 item. I get it. But it's not meant for golf clubs. Like, I sold like $1,000 limited edition baby blades mirror set. Like, you shouldn't be taking the money out of that. So to make a long story short, dude,
you get taxed on it, and then you get taxed on it.
yeah. So yes, and then my friend, ex-girlfriend at the time, was really big on Poshmark, and she's like, "Why don't you use like the Poshmark for golf?" And I was like, "Huh, this has to exist, right?" Looked for it, didn't exist. Looked for it, didn't exist, and that's when the light bulb went off. And so that was the light bulb moment was 2018. That's when I went to my first PGA show. Just to see what the world was like. I had to, before you commit to a business, my lesson to everyone is like, just do your research. What else is out there? And I was convinced, dude, there was something out there. I've been playing golf since I was 12. So I went through the high school golf era. I played high school golf with Anthony Kim. Side note, I did do that. That's a true story for those out there. But like I've been immersed in golf, but I didn't know if there was anything like the Poshmark of golf. So went to the PGA show in 18, didn't exist. Went back in 19 for my second year, just to learn more. My business partner and I already committed to starting Mullie at that point. But every year I've been to the PGA show, to answer your question in a really long roundabout way. The PGA show is just one massive networking event. It's just, the show itself is really cool, guys. I'm not going to discredit the vendors that are showing there because it's really cool, but that's really for like order placements for like the pro shops, the country clubs, the guys that need to place orders that do that there. But like for the smaller brands like you and I and everyone else, it's where, we talk all year long online, DM each other, like texting. But this is the week of the year. Like if you want to be in the golf space, you're at the PGA show, not because of the show, but because of the networking and the people aspect of it.
Yeah, I think I met 20 to 30 people that I've been doing work with or just communicating with on social media. Yeah. There was one guy, Lambkin Grips, who his name's Charlie Fisher. He reached out to me when I had like 500 followers. When I was like, he saw the vision and he's like, I like what he's doing. Hey, Clayton, do you want grips? He sent me this whole package. I swear to God, like 70 grips. And I was like over the moon because it was like the first real thing I got. I'm like, okay, this is sweet. Never met him in person. I'm just walking in the last day and he's like, Esquire Golf, is that you? And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? That's what I said. And he goes, dude, Charlie Fisher. I'm like, oh shit. And it's just like met with people like him all week. And I also met with brands, which is great, right? Brands that I've been working with. But I did hear that like this year there was like more creators around than previous years. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but like I forget what the bar's called across the street in the Hyatt. But when I went over there, like that place was packed with creators and influencers. You had Country Club adjacent, Birdogi, some of the girls in the space. Rory Blackleroy was over there.
And by the way, I want to just take a quick shout out to all you guys, like everyone listening, like that. Like you're as a content creator, influencer, like what you guys do. That is a fucking grind. Like the constant need to create content and edit it and be behind the camera and put it on, that's a lot of work. Like, I thought what I did was a lot of work. It's just different. Like, like we got a guest here. Oh, hey, what's up, girl?
Got to have a dual podcast with her.
Yeah, we have to do that. We're going to see you guys Wednesday. You're all coming to Nashville. But like having to be like front and center all the time, like you don't make money, you don't grow unless you're on. Like Mullie, I can turn myself off for a month and we still grow, we still going. So it's like that's just so much pressure. So like I gotta just quick tip of the hat to all you guys who are doing that. That's just hard work.
Honestly though, like it's a grind, but honestly it's more of a grind because of how I think it's like my OCD or ADHD or whatever it is. Like when I get packages in, I like just want to get content done all the time. And I got 9 to 12 videos like in my bank that I need to edit. And I'm just adding more and more. So I'm just like constantly going. I do it to myself, but I really enjoy it. I do it a little bit different. You know, some people do encore stuff, but I love the creative aspect of it, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm a marketing guy at heart. That's what I got my MBA in. Like I love being able to be behind the camera and kind of like see this vision of what I want something to be and
Yeah.
bring it to life. Like I
Yeah.
met with the Dimple and Divot guys. They gave me a few of their brushes, and I'm like, I'm gonna put something sick together. At lunch today, spent 30 minutes putting something together, sent over a video to them. They're like, this is fucking sick. We love this. Like, and that is so rewarding for me. Like, that makes the effort worth it, right? That I
Yeah.
can do something that helps them. But at the same time, like, I remember when you reached out to me, you're like, let's work together. Let's do some content. You help me, I help you, right?
Yep.
Like, I help with the content. You help spread my name around there, right? Or spread my name around with your audience. And that's kind of how it is, how I see it, right? Is like for me to grow, if I can create cool, valuable stuff that helps them, well, they
Mm-hmm.
can also help me by reposting it or
100%.
collabing on it. And so
Yep.
it's very mutual, right? And then the best part about it is a lot of who I'm collabing with are small brands. And so as they grow, I grow, we grow together. 5 years from now, these people are going to have big boosts at the PGA show. And I'm going to be like, I was there when you were this guy. And
Yeah.
you were there when I was this guy.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like I was just in an email or a DM thread with 4-Win Golf. Have you ever heard of 4-Win Golf?
Mhm. Yeah.
They do all the stuff with the reclaimed sailing material.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, I was with the Dormy guys. And I love Dormy. I think they make some of the sickest stuff. And they were talking about wanting to do stuff with reclaimed sailing material. I'm like, I know the guy that does it the best. Like, I got to connect you. And now he's in a DM thread with them, potentially talking about a collab in the future.
Yeah.
Like, that is sick. And, you know, I was like, hey, save me one when you do it. He's like, dude, you've been an OG supporter. I got you. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I love
Yeah.
the idea of like, we help each other, we grow, we all win. Right.
Yep.
Like, there's no competition. Like, I'm not in competition with anybody. I want everyone to win.
It's the ancient old saying, what is it? A rising tide lifts all boats, you know? So that's kind of this, you know, especially in this world, in the golf space, we all want to win and we all should win because it's just such a stale environment. You know, I forget, you know, Mullie, we're doing our seed round of fundraising. We did friends and family round. We're in the middle of our seed round right now. But someone said someone's like, I forget how I'm going to butcher it, but I forget the context of it, but it was essentially like, you know, the analogy was like, oh, you know, what Uber did to the taxi, you know, world, you're doing to golf commerce. And I'm like, yeah, you know, like, and then it just came out of my mind, like, golf is in desperate need, not only for what I do, but for what you do. Like it is stale across the board. It's stale. Like the incoming of Topgolf really helped us so much, the golf community, because it's brought in so many people that would never have picked up a golf club. And now that they have, and they're like, well, I wonder what's golf like? Where do I shop for golf? Where do I learn about golf? Where do I learn about brands? Like there was nothing. And then here we all come, you know, golf didn't need it. It was mandatory. It had to have it to sustain any sort of growth at all.
Yeah. I think it's really important, like what is happening right now.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
You see these booths like Malbon and Eastside Golf, right? Like those are just two that are like really changing the game. And then you have like these really cool, inspiring smaller brands like Senna, I think that's how you pronounce it, in the back right there, and Dormy, and all these super inviting brands that are open to everyone. One of the things I hated the most about the PGA show was that there are some booths that are very exclusive. Like you got to have an appointment to go in. And I think that like, I get it. You're right. Like that, this is for them to sell. Like that's what most of the brands are there for. But what I loved was the brands where it's like, come on in, come check it out. Like, we want you to see our stuff. We want you to feel it. We want you to touch it. We want to interact with you, because that's like how we're growing the game. It's a different kind of game. Like I remember someone tried going into Greg Norman's, the Norman brand, and they got kicked out. And I just think that is, I wanted to go into Grayson. Like I've heard such great things, and they wouldn't let me go in.
You didn't go in, Grayson?
I didn't get to go in.
That's because it was probably a big buyer in there at the time, because there was people going into that thing the whole time. So it may have just been like,
I was being stubborn. Like I probably could have gone in the second or third day, but I'm like, because they didn't let me in, I don't want to go back. But you know, that's my fault. I should have gone. But you had brands like Under Armour. They were exclusive, but they let me in. They showed me everything. They showed me even some of the stuff that they have planned for 2025.
Were you filming at the time? Did you go as a media participant, like a media attendee?
Yeah, which I
Yeah.
had no idea how I was able to secure that, but it
Yeah.
was great because I was able to meet with brands like Schedule ahead of time. Met with Ben Sherman, Original Penguin, Stitch, which is super cool. Like they want to tell me what's going on. Like I'm never thought I would ever be considered important.
Well, that's
And
because you're the voice. You're a conduit for this younger generation of new kids coming in, right? I'm sure if you look at your follower count, your insights on Instagram, you're probably skewing younger. You're probably not 45 to 60. You're probably the 18 to 35, right? So they want to talk to you because they want to be on your page. They want to be a fan of yours, or vice versa. Yeah, right. I think the brands that embrace it versus shoo you away because you're not big enough yet. Like fuck that. Like yeah, you're doing the right thing.
yeah, I appreciate that. So we talked about the PGA show. Obviously, it was a great event. Like I can't wait
Massively
till
cool,
next
yeah.
year. I anyone that said like was it worth it? I'm like absolutely. Like
Yeah.
my legs, I'm so sore from that event. Like even just golfing and walking, like I've not walked that much in so long, being that I sit behind a desk all day and work.
Yeah.
But like I wish it was like bittersweet at the end when it was closing up and everyone's packing up. You hear all the packaging tape all around. I'm like, damn, this is over. Like the
Yeah.
one time a year I get to like see everyone and
Mhm.
and now everyone's like, dude, are you going to Waste Management? I'm like, no, like I wish.
You're
Because,
not?
like,
How are you
no,
not going?
because I was in Orlando and then I'm going to Nashville and it just like the timing. I'm moving this year.
Bro,
Uh,
you
I
you and
just
your girl should postpone Nashville. Reschedule that to be Waste Management because you are missing out. Like I'm excited to see you because I'm in Nashville, but like it is I'm doing Waste Management and then Genesis and then yeah.
I absolutely should have gone. My cousins live in Scottsdale, and my aunt was like, "I got you a greenskeeper suite pass if you want it on Thursday." And I'm like, "God, but tickets were like $600, and we've had this plan. Like my dad and my uncle are hunters. There's a big hunting convention. It's like
Oh, you guys are hunting here.
no, we're not hunting there. We're going to the hunting convention. It's like the PGA show
Oh,
for hunting.
got it.
So, but
Got
I
it.
don't have to be on. Like I just get to go and see the booths and check out all the cool stuff. Like it's something that I actually look forward to every year. It's really fun. So we have all these things planned. We're going to like Jason Aldean.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun little weekend. But I wish we were going to the Waste Manager. I've been before. It's crazy.
It is
I
crazy.
loved it.
Yeah.
But I told myself that like if I go back, I have to do it where it's like I have some sort of pass because it's so crazy just being like trying to watch. You can't watch any golf if you're not
You,
like somewhere where you can actually see because
yeah.
there are so many people just getting absolutely shit faced everywhere.
I remember when I went my first year, I think my first year was 2019 or 20. I don't remember. But anyway, 19 because I think the next year was COVID. So, but I remember I went and there's literally rock concerts going on while the golf tournament is being played. And you're like, wait, what? Like there's like inside 17, the whole thing. It's like there's a rock concert and golf's being played. I'm like, I couldn't understand it. It's like, what the fuck is happening right now?
But it's so like people love it and it
Oh yeah.
reminds you of
Oh
like
yeah.
what Liv is doing and you'd think PGA would get a clue of like this is the most hyped up golf tournament all year long. People who don't even go to golf like watch golf go to this. It's like why don't you create more atmospheres like this
Yeah.
throughout the season. Like
Yeah.
it's such an incredible experience and I went like I think I went starting in the first round when no one's really there yet. Most people come like Friday, Saturday, Sunday when it's the weekend, all those college kids.
Yeah.
And I was actually able to watch golf. And that was the first time I saw professional golf up close. And I think we were following like Tony Finau and Ricky Fowler or something like that. I know it was Finau. I forgot the other guy. But it made me realize that like these guys are professionals, but they still make mistakes. Both of them was like, I forgot what hole it was. Don't remember those details. They both missed the green. They were off to the side. We were all surrounding the ball. Both of them.
Yeah.
Next shot. Perfect. Right in the green. Right in the fairway. And I'm like, God, these guys make mistakes. They don't hit perfect drives, but they minimize those mistakes.
And their mistakes are a lot tighter dispersion misses than ours. Like, I'm a 5-6 in handicap. It's like, when I miss, it's worse than their miss. And
definitely. But I think it's one of those sports, like I don't like soccer, right? But I told someone that that might be because I haven't been to like a real big soccer event live
Yeah.
to experience that atmosphere, and then I'd probably become a fan of the sport, right?
Have
Maybe
you
I
been
wouldn't
to
watch it all
the
the
Have you been
time.
to the Masters at all or no?
No, no. I
What
need
you're describing, man, I've always been obsessed with golf because like as an athlete, I've just been obsessed with it. I love it. But the first time I went to the Masters, I got that feeling of what you're describing, and then I was like fully addicted, like just like because yeah, go keep going.
Yeah, but like that's kind of was like the moment where I'm like, okay, golf's pretty sweet. Like when I saw it live and realized how good these guys are on TV, it's just kind of like if you're not into the sport and you haven't seen a PGA event live, it's hard to
Hmm.
like get into it on TV. But when you
Yeah,
realize like how difficult it really is and how good these guys really are, it just completely changes your viewpoint. And I
absolutely.
imagine like something like the Masters too, uh, completely changes it as well. It's like such a prestigious event. But that's something I have to go to. And I'm sure like if I keep doing this for the, next 30 years, I'm sure at some point I'll be able to go to the Masters. Hopefully, maybe I
Let's
meet someone, but,
let's rewind like 30 days or I mean, you've been how long you doing this for a year now? Like I don't even know how or why you started that squad. I don't know your origin story.
okay. Yeah. And not many people do. So it was like 7 months ago, I would say like April, May, around that time, I was like, I need to play a sport. Like I miss competitive sports. Like I played
You were a
college
baseball
baseball.
player. Yeah,
I
yeah,
played
yeah.
college baseball. I went to grad school, got my JD MBA, and then I was like, I need a hobby. Like I need something to do that, challenges me, pushes me, gets me out of the house. And I'm like, I play golf. I have a set of clubs, right? My buddies play golf. They're good. I suck so bad. I'm going to play this sport for the rest of my life, right? Like even more as I get older. Why not
Yeah.
figure it out and get into it? So for like a month in April and May, I just started going to the range like every day. And I continued to suck, but I just like fell in love with the grind of like trying to get good at golf. And then I'm like starting to buy all this stuff, these shoes, polos, whatever. And I'm like, this is going to get expensive really fast. And so I'm like, what if I just like create content and put it out
That's
there?
genius.
And then I
That's
started
genius.
watching Golf Projects, Ray, and I'm like, I love what he does. I love how he focuses on brands, the marketing side. And I'm like, let's focus on stuff with like the fashion and apparel. And so Esquire Golf comes from me being an attorney, that Esquire, and then kind of got inspiration from Esquire magazine, which is like, notorious for fashion.
Fashion
So I'm like,
style.
let's
Yep.
combine something about like me and then some of the content that I'm going to focus on. Obviously, I've expanded beyond just fashion stuff and style. But that's kind of where it came from. And then, so I've been doing this since July 26th was my first video. I've posted every day since. So it's been a little over 6 months since I've been doing it. And
That's
it
awesome.
all happened so fast. Like 6 months
Yeah.
ago, if you told me you're going to be at the PGA show, you're going to meet with brands like Under Armour, Stitch, Ben Sherman, Original Penguin, and meet all these brands and collab with 40 plus different brands. Like I would have said, you're crazy. Right. And here we are. It's been a ride. It's been super
Yeah.
fun. Even my girlfriend's gotten into it. Now she has her own golf page, Nick Golfs, and it's a kind of a couple thing. It's super fun. It gives us something to do. We both love golf, and we're like, we can travel all over the world for it. Everywhere we
Yep.
go, we can play golf. So let's create content, and now it's a little cheaper. I don't have to spend money on buying stuff. I still do, right? But I have so many polos, hats, get to work with some cool brands, pants, like next stop is like trying to get a free play for free. But because I don't create content on the course, that might be a little difficult, but maybe that's
Yeah.
coming in the future.
Yeah.
But I always say like, no one wants to watch me play golf. Maybe if I can, I get a little like when I get mic'd up on the course like that, I like try too hard to be funny instead of just like being natural. I got to learn
Yeah.
how to like just be myself out there and not like try to be funny, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But it's been, dude, it's been incredible. Like this is made me realize that like I love the golf industry. I love being involved. Like whether I'm playing or not, like I think the golf industry is so fascinating, and we're at a time that's like transformational. And like we're gonna look back on this period 20 years from now and be like, do you remember that time when all these new brands were coming in and this technology that was changing the game and all these new people were entering? People like me and people of different color and background, and like it's such a cool time to be involved in this sport. I know
It
some
is.
people are like upset about it. They say like, "Oh, shrink the game." But in my eyes, like the more people that play the sport, the better it's going to be for everyone, because that means there's going to be more golf courses. Golf courses are going to invest and make the golf courses better. It's just like more brands are going to be out there that fit you.
Yeah.
And I'm here for this, and I'm so grateful for everyone and everything that's happened. So it's been 6 months, been a crazy 6 months. But I wouldn't change it. Like someone asked me, like, what would you do different if you could start over? I'm like, honestly, probably nothing. Like, yeah, maybe I know how to do content a little bit better now, but everything I did from day one
Mhm.
to now is like taught me about the industry, taught me about myself, about content. So it's like hard for me to say I want to change anything. Like I'm a firm believer everything happens for a reason. I don't have any regrets.
Mhm.
Um, but it's been crazy. It's been super
Yeah.
fun. I'm
But
the word I would say is grateful.
yeah, I'm right there with you. And I think as somebody, I never said shrink the game. I would never say. I've always been an advocate for. I don't want to say grow the game, but introduce it to more people. It spread the word about it. But I do feel like those who say shrink the game, those who like are against the growth of it, they don't quite understand. I don't want to put words in their mouth or make assumptions here, but I think, and my feeling is they believe that the growth of the game is going to devalue the traditions of the game.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case. I think, they'll probably see, someone's page like Jordan Fairway Fits, who's a good buddy. And I love his page. You mentioned Ray. I love what he does with the introducing like a more of a fashion lifestyle component to golf. They see those pages, Clayton, and they're probably just like, no, I want my polos, I want my khakis, and I want that. And like, look, that's one style, that's one approach to the game. I don't feel like just because you're going to be wearing Malbon baggy pants or like maybe a Rada polo or a Radri shirt out there, it doesn't diminish the traditions of the game. I think it just adds a different look to the game, and you can't be, we as a community, we can't be shy and scared of it looking a different way. Now, if people go out there and start throwing clubs at people, and then I don't like the whole hitting the golf cart thing. Like, people do not fucking hit your friends with the golf carts. Like that to me, that's not allowed. That shouldn't be there. But like,
Yeah.
just because the game looks different, as long as the ethos, the thesis of why we're playing, and a nod to the greats, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, those who really helped to get the game get here, even a vintage Tiger Woods. Like, let's respect the traditions of it, even though it looks different. I think if we can do that, golf's in a great place.
No, I 100% agree. I think that like social media, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because it gives voices for people who do respect the traditions, but also welcome what's happening in the space. Like you said, Fairway Fits, golf projects, myself, even like Land Force and all the other creators out there. But then you also see these videos that get posted on those big like meme accounts of
Mm-hmm.
people on a golf course on their back, chugging a beer, or someone taking a golf cart into the water, or hitting people,
Yeah,
or like taking a club and just making massive divots, in on the green. Like I hate seeing that, and I totally get when people say like
yeah,
shrink the game. But like that's the problem with social media. People just think like, oh, we can do something crazy and just get a ton of views. And that does bug me, because I
it's
welcome this
clickbait.
new
Yeah,
this new wave of golf and these new wave of brands, but I do want to respect the tradition and like the history of the game, right? Like like you can wear whatever you want and still respect the history and tradition of the game.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
need to keep pushing that on people, right? And
And by the
and
way, there's always going to be the golf courses that are even open to the public that are geared more traditional, right? Like, air quotes, traditional. And then there's going to be the local community where you could just go take a six pack and wear a t-shirt and jeans. I don't know. I'm not that guy, but you can play to where you want to go. Like, you don't have to, we're not all going to assimilate into the same place at the same time. It's like kind of like one big high school. There's going to be all these cliques everywhere. You can get along with them or you can swim in your own lane. Like, you do what you do. But I do love, like, to your point, if the values of the game are the common denominator across all segments of the game, There's enough respect, even though we don't see eye to eye on the way we're going to look out here or how we're going to do a buddy's golf trip or where we're going to go. There's still enough respect there to align and, keep to yourselves and just to give someone a nod, heads up, and you're good. Go your own way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just excited for where the game's going. As long as people do what you say and, fix your divots,
Yeah.
rake the bunkers. Like, these are the things that I think are important to the game.
Yeah,
Don't
etiquette.
drive on the green. Yes,
Etiquette,
the
yeah.
etiquette. That's important. And some etiquette, like, what is it, like ready golf? Like, I'm okay with that, right? Like, whatever. But don't destroy the courses. My dad always told me, and like in the baseball world, whether we were going to a cage or a field, like, leave it nicer than when you got there, right? If there's garbage, pick it up. And that's kind of how I feel about golf courses too. It's like, there's nothing better than going out on a beautiful golf course and just being in Mother Nature. Like, sometimes, and it doesn't have to be the nicest golf course. Like, there's this course in Chicago called Harborside, and sometimes when it's not so busy, you're out there and it's like, man, like, does it get better than this? Like, you're out here just playing golf and having fun and enjoying Mother Nature. Like, it really doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the sport so much, right? It gets you out, walking around, challenges yourself,
Yeah.
and teaches you a lot. Like, I think
Yeah.
the conversation I have with a lot of people is like, golf teaches you more about yourself and life than a lot of sports out there, because it's so mentally frustrating. I think, like, one of the biggest lessons I always think about golf is kind of what we talked about when I was telling you about the waste management. When I first saw golf live was, you can have a bad shot, but you can have a great second shot and be just right where you need to be. Or you could get really frustrated and continue, just ruin a hole. And it's like, just take a deep breath. It's not the end of the world. Focus in the moment and focus on your next shot. And it's kind of like life, right? When you get knocked down, you get back up, and you can take one step back and 2 steps forward, or you can take, 3 steps back, 1 step forward, and 4 steps back. Like, it's up to you. And that's like what I like most about golf, is the lessons it teaches you about life.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to redo this whole podcast again on my podcast, because I have like a small little passion project that's just about that. It's called Love and Golf. It's all about, I say golf is a microcosm for life. What happens on the course to us and the way we treat the golf course is kind of the same way we look at life and treat life. And I have this whole thing, and again, like, I'd love for you to share that on mine. It's like, what is golf giving you? But what do you give golf? It's like it. And by the way, like, unlike your channel, which is very big and growing, my, like, Love and Golf is a small thing for me, because I was hearing, I'm probably like you, dude. Like, you probably go around like the show or wherever in your everyday life, and you meet these great characters. We meet these great people in golf. And I think, at least in my conversations, one of the things that come up is like, well, how did you first get introduced to golf? How did you fall in love with golf? Kind of like your story, like, you went to MBA, you got your MBA, and you were like, what am I going to do now? And it was so hard, it was challenging. Like, these are cool stories, and the small nuances of them I wanted to share with people to inspire people to go try and pick it up. So yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, life. I'm also a product of a divorced household. My parents got divorced when I was young, as like 7 or 8. And in those formative years, life's hard, and you go to high school and life's hard. And I found golf because it was a way for me to spend time with my dad, but also, to your point, I was able just to, like, tune out. I played soccer, I played baseball, and all those team sports are great. But like, when you're playing golf, when you're practicing by yourself, you're playing by yourself, even with other people. But like, it's just, your world gets so small in your head. Like, that is your world. And in a way, it's so, when you're playing golf, you can really only focus on golf. You can't really be thinking about, your stress at home, or the homework you have to do, or the reports you got to write, or the things you didn't do, or your laundry list, or your grocery list. Like, it's just like golf, and there's a beautiful psychotic thought to that, or thought process to it, that because it's so hyper focused, it almost frees everything else up.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about, right? Because when you are out there, even at the range, like, it's you and the ball, and that's all you're thinking about, right? No matter what problems you have. Like, I'm going through some shit right now, like I told you earlier, with my rental property, and like, this right here, this is a great escape for me to kind of forget about, what else is going on. I think that's the cool thing about golf, is that it can bring people from so many different backgrounds together. And when you're out on the course and you're playing 18, the one thing everyone has in common is like the passion they have for the game. Like I moved to Chicago only knowing about a two or three people who I went to school with, and the other people that now I'm friends with, I met on a golf course.
Yeah,
Right? It's because there's one thing we have in common is the love for golf, and that's something we can all get together and shoot the shit about and enjoy and have fun and have a good time over drinks, whether it's at a bar or a course or a range or a simulator. We always have a good time. And it's funny because someone always says it's like when you're in the airport and you see someone with a golf hat, you're just like automatically bros. Right. And like that's how I see it now. It's like, I'm in the airport now and I always sit on the golf hat. I'm like, I would like that guy. Like that
yeah,
guy, that
yeah,
guy would be a friend of mine.
yeah,
It's such a good game. It's a beautiful game. It deserves to be respected. And, for what it gives you, you should give it back. Right.
100%.
And
Well, that's
and
what you're
help.
doing. I mean, even though you wanted free clubs and stuff, still in your love for it, in your content, you're giving an educational channel to a lot of people that would not have been privy to golf. So even though it started as like I want to sell golf stuff, you're helping people learn about new brands. You're helping brands probably make sales. So you're giving back to it also, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about that, right? Like you were talking about giving back to the game. Well, I guess in my way, that's how I give back to the game. And something I didn't mention was like one of the reasons I started was when I got into it and I started following people like golf projects, right? Like when I got in the game, I started following more people on my personal account, and then you get targeted with these ads, and I'm like, man, I've never even heard of this brand. I've never heard of this brand. I've never heard of this brand, and I'm like, if I feel this way, there's got to be other people that feel this way too. In my brand series videos, like I've gone away from them a little bit. I'm still doing them, just not as actively as I was before. But when I introduce new brands, there are some people who are like, man, I had no idea this brand even existed, and I think that's the beauty of it is like I'm able to help bring awareness to these small brands, which is good for the brands. And then I'm glad I'm able to help the people that follow me learn about brands that maybe fit them better than other brands. Or like, I'm doing something for it's funny, you run Mullie, but it was like Mullie, Mully, a new brand ran by veterans, and part of their proceeds go back to supporting veterans. And like maybe if I can bring awareness to that, there are people out there who are like, man, I'm a veteran. My dad was a veteran. I would love to support a brand like that because not only do I get a cool polo that I like, but I'm also knowing that I also know that I get to help a good cause in the process that means something to me. Right. So yeah, I mean, you're even making me realize things I didn't even understand. So
Yeah.
For that, I appreciate that, and that's why I love conversations like this. But the next thing I want to talk about, like we spoke about the PGA show, wild event, love it. Golf through our eyes and how golf, is transforming and how we can grow the game while respecting the traditions. But the one thing I want to highlight on this podcast. The reason it's named Links to Labels is because I want to highlight the brands involved in golf and the founders behind those brands. So, you spoke about Mullie earlier, your inspiration for starting it, which I think is super cool, right? There's no seller fees. And I think that's huge. And I think when more people realize that, they're going to go off places like eBay for selling golf stuff, and they're going to go straight to Mullie. So what I want to chat about is like that type of model, right? And we know that eBay seller fees are a big way for eBay to make money. So maybe you could talk a little bit about your business model and how you monetize that business model without having seller fees.
It's a great question, Clayton, because I get asked that. My business partner, Steve, and I get asked that because that's part of the investor pitch, right? Well, I'm not going to give you money. How do I get it back? So our business model, we call it a freemium model. Anyone out there who's a gamer who knows, like, what is it like? I'm not a gamer, but Fallout and other ones, we've consulted. We have a business consultant that helps us look at our marketplace. And to be honest and upfront with it, we knew we could not go up against eBay. If we came out with 10%, fee or commission sales fee, which is what we call it, we would get slaughtered by eBay because eBay is the largest golf store on the planet. There's no argument. They have so many SKUs. There's sellers, the stores on there. There are PGA professionals on there. There are brands on there, and it's just massive, So we knew we had to first cater to a community. We had to really build the community. And to do that, we wanted to be disruptive, right? So if I like you said, you when you were watching, getting all served all those ads, you couldn't be the only one. Well, I couldn't be the only one. Like frustrated with the eBay model, the fees. Again, I understand if I'm going to sell a $10 hat, they got to make some money to run the servers. But like, you cannot be selling the golf price, the golf items. On Mullie, our average list item price is $100, $110, I believe. So it's ridiculous to sell to collect fees on those type of items, and then the shipping costs on top of that. So anyway, I'm gonna get on that tangent, but we knew to build the community of loyal early adopters, we had to just get rid of the fees. So that was our first step. Let's get rid of the fees altogether. Now, how do we make money? If you're a recreational seller like you, me, like the people, Michael, Clayton, there's never going to be a limit or a fee onto that model. We can always sell stuff. Now, if you're a smaller brand, let's use a smaller brand. What's a smaller brand like just up and coming? Not even Metalwood yet. Like smaller than Metalwood. Who would that be?
Merrill Golf. Let's throw that
perfect.
in there.
Right. So someone like that, say they have their Shopify store, right? And they want to, in Mullie, as we grow right now, I think we're like 40,000 members. Let's like fast forward to the end of summer, we're at 100,000 members. We have a focused, controlled group of golf eyeballs, right? Someone like Merrill who lists on eBay might get lost in the sea of shit, right? But if they want to port over their collections or certain collections from their Shopify store and just create their own store within Mullie with focused eyeballs, there's going to be a service fee to that. Maybe it's like a low monthly plus a low vig on sales, right? And then if you're a bigger store, there's tiers to that. So software as a service. So again, for every recreational seller, the ethos, the thesis of Mullie remains the same, free forever. But if you're a small brand, a big brand, maybe you're in a store who has like a whole POS system, or like, channel advisor system, you can integrate that all over into Mullie because of our eyeballs. We can do that. So that's one side of the software as a service play for Mullie. The other side, memberships. We just recently acquired a Tee Time engine. So in the mindset of marketplace, you can buy everything you want for golf on Mullie. You can buy memorabilia, you can buy new equipment, used equipment, shoes, hats, balls, gloves, everything except Tee Times. So we really want to hook in that engine in the next few months where you can book times at golf courses, you can book times at an X Golf, you can book times at Top Golf. So we want Mullie to be an ecosystem where golfers can do everything they want. They can network, meet people, they can buy stuff, sell stuff, trade stuff, and book times to go actually play golf. So, and then in that service, there'll be a small membership model, just like you member at or you subscribe to Netflix. There's like a free model or a freemium model you can get with ads, or you can, subscribe to Mullie Plus and get, preferred Tee Times and preferred type of activities. So that's the monetization model. But I think, again, to answer your question really bluntly up front, we knew we had to build the community. Without the community, there's nothing. So we have to give something the community all wants is a commission sales free platform, which is what we've done, phase one.
And what you just said leads me to the next thing, right? Community. Like I've had, 3 people on, Jimmy Tropicana, and John Madera from Buena Gente, right? And the other is Colin McCarthy. He's a PGA coach. So it's a little different conversation there. PGA coach and creator. But with the 2 conversations that I had with John and Jimmy had a lot to do with community and the importance of community, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of brands out there, these small brands, they don't understand that there's a lot of value. And before you ever really put out a product or try to, monetize or make profit, that you can build a community of like-minded people and then launch a product. Like some people were asked when I had like 2,000 followers, like, are you ever going to sell something? Like, maybe not anytime soon though. Like, let me build my following. And then at a certain point, like you really engage with them, build relationships with them. And then if I launch an Esquire golf hat or, a shirt with back 9 bullies, right? Like I'm going to have 50 people that want to buy it because they support me, right? They like what I'm doing there. Whether they wear the shirt or not, they just want to support me. And I talk about community and the value of community. And I always bring up this example of, I worked for a company in grad school called Baseballism. Not sure if you've heard of them or not, but they're I guess small and by means of small business, but by definition, they're an off the field lifestyle apparel brand, right? They sell stuff you'd wear to baseball games or off, mate. You could wear some of their stuff to the bar, go to the gym, whatever. Like they make really awesome stuff. They've done collab shoes with Nike. They have licensing deals with MLB, Roberto Clemente family, the Babe Ruth family, Ken Griffey. But the story about how they started was like they're 4 dudes. They went to college. They played club baseball at Oregon together. They all went their separate ways. One became a baseball coach. He was wearing his camp shirt, which they called baseballism, right? And the parents were like, hey, I love that shirt. Like, where can I get one? They realized like, okay, they might have something here. Before they ever sold a product, they built a group on Facebook, a community on Facebook. And what they would do is like post these baseball sayings and what you call is like isms, right? That's why you have the name baseballism. Would be like poems or whatever of, stuff that if you were a baseball, you've been involved in the game, like you really relate to, you connect with. And now they have like, over I think close to 1 million or over 1 million followers on Facebook, over, 400,000+ on Instagram. But before they ever sold a single product, they had that community. So once when they launched a product, they had a community of buyers, right? And so it kind of goes into what you're saying of like, if we build that community, like if you build it, they will come, right? Mm-hmm. When you have 100,000 eyeballs that are all golfers, if you're a golf brand, why wouldn't you want your products there? Because it's very hyper targeted. Like maybe you include paid ads and these, like, why would you pay for ads on Facebook when every single person on this app is a golfer, right? And it would make more sense. It would be more focused spending on your app. And it's all about that community of like finding ways to build that community. And that kind of, makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of brands, like smaller golf brands, need to realize that. So like we talked about that Mullie Co, they should focus on building that audience around veterans or people who've had, family who've served, right? They can build that community of all like-minded people, and they're going to all be obsessed with wanting to buy whatever they come out with because they connect with that.
It's funny. I was just add to your point. It was funny because when my business partner Steve and I had the idea and then we committed to it, he went off and he's the dev side, like, and I'm more of like the business development side. Like I knew in order to like when we launched day one, it was going to take about a year for the code and everything to get written, but like we had to launch with someone on it. We couldn't just be like, hey, we're ready, let's go. So I knew like this was like 2020. This was 2020, right during the pandemic. I remember this. I started the Instagram page just to create fun memes and like relatable content, so I could attract golfing eyeballs to this page. And then when we launched the application, we could have a user base. So to your point, like building community is there's levels to that game, and it's really the biggest game you can play. Is how do you get someone's eyeballs? How do you get someone's attention? And how do you keep it?
And in the golf world, there's different ways to build communities, right? Like I know a lot of people who do the meme stuff, and they do the meme stuff with the intention to, sell stuff one day, or, they get a big enough following because they put out these high quality memes that are actually just really funny, like really relatable and funny. And they grow this community. There's, you can do it that way, or you can hyper target, like have a very curated, aesthetically pleasing Instagram that attracts a very specific audience, right? And that might be a little slower, but you're creating this very specific brand image, right? And there's just different ways to do it. There's no right way, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and say this way is wrong and this way is right, but building a community, however you do it, is like that's an important step in growing your golf brand.
As long as you're creating relatable content of some sort that's going to either teach, inspire, or entertain someone, if you can do that, then I think that's the holy grail for good content: teaching, inspiring, entertaining. If you can do all those at one time, you have a home run. And I can go on and on about that topic, but yeah, keep going.
Yeah, and then I also want to talk about, kind of, you said you started building a community through that sort of meme like golf content, but now it's like when you reach out to me, you're involving creators, right? Like, and I wasn't when you reached out to me, like, I have close to 6,000 followers now, which is like for me still crazy to think about. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But I didn't, like, I probably had half of what I have now, and I wasn't creating like the quality of content that I am now. Mm-hmm. But you saw value, and like you were like, I really believe in what you do, and I want to include you, and I want to help you in any way I can. And I really respect that, right? Because you don't owe me anything. Like you don't, but you saw some sort of value in me, and I really appreciate that. And so, like, I also see what you do with Fairway Fits. So I want to talk about like why, like, what inspired you to start including other creators into like the Mullie content.
Yeah, great question. I feel like, I mean, I'm a little older, I think, than you. I'm, in my later 30s, and um, I've been around in the Instagram game, the social media game, a long time, and I just saw the tide turning. The popularity in TikTok and what Reels had then on the coattails of that. I just saw, the changing of the guard, if you will. Like it was about memes and it was about relatable, funny content, especially for golf. Golfers love that shit. They love that funny stuff. But when I saw one wave go out, and then I saw the wave coming in of creators, like true video creators, like those either like creating mashups, or either being front and center as like the talent. I just saw the popularity and what that was going to do for the next generation, the next wave of social media. I've I'm not saying I couldn't do it. I just didn't want to learn a new trick. And I saw you guys doing it, it was, and plus Mullie is like, I don't think Mullie should have a face. I think Mullie, it's not me, it's not my business partner, it's not one person in the community. Mullie is like, it's a feeling, it's an ecosystem. It's like, it's the name of the high school. It's like, it's the place that I want to help promote other individuals in the space. And I love what you were doing. I think you're super smart. I think you are really articulate. You knew what you were talking about. There's some people that don't know what they're talking about. And let's be fucking honest, you had the balls to do it. And I really, really respect that. And I think, Jordan, same thing. Like Jordan didn't want to really be front and center on the page, at least when I was talking to him in the beginning. But I loved how he was an aggregator of content that was different than what we were doing. And I love what he was doing. And that's where I kind of got the idea. I think we were like, he actually asked me, do you want to do like a Fairway Fits and Mullie Friday thing? I was like, yeah, great. And I was like, damn, let's get Clayton. Let's do Esquire Golf on the Mondays. And we'll do the marketplace finds. And even like, I think I talked to Ray at Project Golf Projects, and like, he was doing his own thing a little bit. No disrespect there, but love what he was doing still. Thought it was great. I remember I talked to Ube Wolf, great friend of mine, good friend of mine. And I think he's incredibly talented. Like just, he's done some stuff for us. And I guess to answer your question, because I have these really fucking long-winded ones, but the golf space is so talented with the people that are in it. I thought rather than just steal content, which people do, why don't I try and partner with these guys? We were able to build something close to 30,000 in the last couple of years, like with our first wave. Why can't I share the wave? Like you said, let's lift the whole tide. Let's help everybody come up. Because I think it's great and it's unique. So I think that's kind of the thought of it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I love what you do with the Fairway Fits, what you do, and you show off cool fits and whatnot. And I love how he has like this little tile on the homepage where you can see, like, when I go and prepare for the Mullie Mondays, which I need to get back on more consistently. It's been really difficult with the travel.
Don't worry, I'm gonna come down because I told you we have this whole new campaign. I don't want to announce it now, but there's a whole new thing coming, which I'm gonna need your help for. So it's okay. I've been noticing. I've been banking it. It's okay.
I got you. I got you. It's just it's literally when you first came to me, like as much content as I have to do now is nowhere near what I was doing then, especially now with like the PGA show and all these videos I have to do and all these brands that send me stuff. Like I probably spread myself a little too thin at times, and I need to learn how to say no, or just tell someone like, hey, I don't know when I'm going to get to this, right? It might take a while. I need to do a better job of that. But it's only 6 months. I'm still learning.
But also, dude, like you got to cut yourself some slack. Like I think people don't, this is why I think you're a badass, bro, is because entrepreneurs, how do I say this? The entrepreneur in the journey of creating isn't like an overnight thing. And you have a life, you have a financial job to support yourself. You're not just going to go fucking homeless. Like you asked the question, how does Mullie make money? We don't. Mullie actually costs my founder and I a lot of money, and we're going to go raise money. So I have my own gig to make money too. Like I've got my hustle that puts this whole roof over my head. So to what I'm trying to say is, Like Clayton, like people got to know out there, if you're listening to this, like, and you have an idea and you want to start something, you're gonna have to grind because you're gonna have to do your 9 to 5, air quotes, like to put food on the table, roof over your head, have money in your pocket, and then when you want to watch Netflix and hang out and chill or fucking do whatever, fuck off. You're like, oh, you got to grind, and bro, I bet you when you want to fuck off, you are grinding. Okay, you got to grind now.
I don't do Netflix and chill anymore. like I don't like we try to find
Yeah,
time, but like both Nicole and I, we have to edit content because we both understand the power of consistency. Like with the PGA show, like I put out recap videos every morning, and people don't understand like how long that takes for me to look through all those videos, mash it up, put it together. It's like a full day's worth of
yeah, I couldn't
content
do it.
on my
I couldn't do it. Yeah.
camera that I have to put together. And we were getting home from a Top Golf event at 11 p.m. and I'm up till 1 or 2 a.m. just editing content to put out there so my followers can see what's going on and try to get it and experience what I'm experiencing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously that's
You gotta
my
love
choice.
it.
It's
You
my
gotta love
choice.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy, like, it's very creative. It's like
Yeah.
I get to create what I want to create. No one's telling me what to do, right? At a 9 to 5, like you have responsibility to someone else and you have to be accountable to someone else. Like here, it's only accountable to me. I get to decide what type of content I want to do, how it looks. But like it is a grind. And there are and dude, the coolest thing happened to me at the PGA show was not even 10 minutes in, someone comes up to me and goes, Esquire Golf. And I'm like, I don't know faces. Like you're all behind us, behind a brand or whatever. And they're like,
Yeah.
forgot her name, and I need to do a better job of like remembering names, writing them down right away. But it was My Golf Spy, right? And it was the My Golf Spy team. There's just two of them. And they were talking about content, and they're like, dude, what you do doesn't go unnoticed. Like you grind it. Like you're a grinder. Like you're putting out content all the time. Like it doesn't go unnoticed. And I'm like, damn, that makes me feel good. Because you have people as big as My Golf Spy, which just passed 300,000 followers, like recognizing a small little guy, and that makes you feel good. So I appreciate the people that understand that it is a grind. Like this isn't my full-time job. I didn't get paid to go to the PGA show. I paid to be there, right? Where some people did, but it's because I really enjoyed being involved in this industry, and you got to kind of spend money to grow and get to where you want to be, which is, I'm sure, was what you're experiencing right now. So what is the next step of growth from Mullie? I know you said, I don't know if this was serious or not, but 40,000 users now, 100,000 the end of summer. Like what is going to get you to that point? Is it, I'm sure it can't just be the same stuff. You got to keep diversifying and, adding people to the brand that help you grow. Like, and Roger Steele enters the chat, right? Who I actually met this past weekend. Great dude. Really enjoyed chatting with him and his, I don't know if his girlfriend, fiance, Tori. It was a pleasure meeting them. Great people. But he just invested, and I saw, he was posting about it. Now his stuff's going on Mullie. But is like that the next wave is like bringing in strategic partners who can help you, expand the audience?
Yeah. So another great question, man. And I want to see what information I can give away here because some of it is confidential. But I've been in the golf space since 18, 19, in starting Mullie and the slow growth that it was. And I've had the privilege of meeting so many great people. Golf Bald, Sean Guerrero, Travis Miller, PJ Memes, Sonny, Colette, Mike, at Group Chat Golf. And then, obviously Roger Steele and a bunch of people, yourself included now. The golf community is so great, and I'm so fortunate. And I never really asked people to invest. People know what we're doing. They've seen, Mullie is now in our third year. So we've had 2 official years, 2 golf seasons. The first one was a burn, like slow, because people didn't know about us. We just had like an Instagram account, and it was grind. Year 2 was when we kind of hit more of a stride. People, the loyal adopters from the year 1 went into year 2. And we saw another spike of just users and brands come on. And bro, we've had like people come up and start their own brands. I had DMs from people like, hey man, like you helped me pay for my kids' Christmas gifts this year. Thank you. I'm like, wow, like, thank you. That's awesome. But to continue the growth, man, like we could I think hypothetically, continue the slow growth, and it could just slow, and which is not a bad way to do it. But we know in this world there's like an attrition factor. We have to keep top of mind. We have to hit the tipping point where users sustain users, like the buyers sustain sellers, sellers sustain buyers. Right now we're in a season of a lot of sellers and then a lot of buyers. So I kind of went to my people, Travis Miller and Roger Steele being the two of them. I was just asking for some advice, like what should we do? We're starting our seed round investment, and the money we were going to raise, or still are raising, was just for user acquisition. We did a lot of paid media, and I think it was like, well, why don't we love what you're doing? Why don't we get in on this? Why don't we invest and figure out how to help you? And so with the two of them, believing in the mission, believing what we're doing, they both invested and they become partners of ours. And I'll tell you, it's a huge value add, not just for their investment, but for their likeness, and for them to go out and actually use the platform, promote it on their own accord without me telling them how to do it as partners. It's such a blessing for them to see it and buy into it. Because I think and they do it in different ways. Roger, obviously, being such an advocate for introducing golf to more communities. He's incredibly talented, great marketer, and out there, preaching Mullie and using Mullie, which is awesome. And Travis, the same thing. PJ Memes, the same thing. He's out there rubbing shoulders with all these people doing home course and swag my bag while using Mullie. So I couldn't be more blessed to have them as my business partners, and really. By the way, we just talked at the show, like we had a group meeting, like bouncing ideas, like they're just brilliant minds. So forget their reach, like they're just great. But the goal for all of us, is to hit that next plateau. I think 100,000 users will be a big milestone for us, where we believe the technology and the marketplace will become self-sustaining. Like the equilibrium between buyers and sellers will be more stable at that point. Because right now you have my buyers or sellers coming on listing like their Mura sets or like limited edition, waste management shoes from last year. And they're just not selling yet because I think it's not a golf season, but the buying community and the buying power is just not there yet. So if that's my honest answer, but I think that the mission is just stay focused right now. Let's not introduce too many things. Create the greatest experience of all time for buyers and sellers to find cool shit, find vintage stuff, find limited edition items that they can't really find elsewhere, and give those smaller brands a focused community to build their audience. That's the biggest one, to be honest, Clayton. Like anyone right now can go on eBay and find similar or better items. That's just a fucking fact. They've been around a lot longer. It's $1 billion, $1 trillion company, billion, whatever. But like, if you're a smaller brand who went to the PGA show and is inspired to start something, Mullie is their platform, and Mullie will be their platform. We have thousands of users a week, thousands logging on, that they get their eyeballs. So I think that's in a nutshell, that's our focus this next year 3. And then we'll check back in at the end and see if we did it.
Yeah. Let me pitch an idea to you. So I'm an investor in Loop Golf Club. You know, Loop, the betting app, right?
Yeah.
Me and a couple of my partners who we have another side business, invested some money during their last, funding round. We met with the founders, really believed in what they do. And I know that they want to go, they're in that kind of phase right now where it's like, they're not making money. They're trying to grow the user base, and they see, there's a vision, there's the opportunity to make money, and they want to go into subscription eventually. I think that's the idea of how they want to monetize. But in order to get subscriptions, you need to provide substantial value, right? You need to believe that what you're paying for, you are getting back in return in grows. And so what if, let's say Loop had 2 membership tiers, right? And you could do A or B. But what if you partnered with other software businesses and you had like another separate membership fee where you guys kind of did like a rev share? But like, let's say the membership fees at Loop was $5 for one and $10 a month for the other. But for $20, you could, and let's say your member, you had a membership that was 10, I don't know. But if you did that one, you could be a member at Mullie, you could be a member at Loop, and it's like a better value. It's like a bundle, but it's like different apps, right?
Bundle your car and auto. But yeah, exactly.
It's like, maybe there's an opportunity where like you don't do betting, right? And I know like, I don't know what I can say based on what the conversation I've had with Loop, but they do something different than you do something different than them. their members can get value out of you and your members can get value to them. Like maybe there is an opportunity to do this like bundle subscription where it's like, through code, you're able to integrate that experience some way or another, right? It's like they're not front and center on your page, you're not front and center on theirs, but with a certain membership, you're getting this access to these different software that gives different experiences, but together it's like the ultimate golf experience.
We should definitely talk offline about that one. No, we should talk about that. That's not a bad idea.
I was just, thinking out loud there because I don't see why not. I know like Loop has visions to do a lot more, and I know you have visions to do a lot more. And sometimes it doesn't make sense for you to say, okay, you want to do 2 times, but like, you probably don't want to have, betting on your platform. You probably don't want to have, the map navigation that shows you the course and the distances and whatever. And, but there are some synergies, and I don't know. Yeah. Just thinking out loud here, right? I probably can't speak for them. I'm just a very small percentage investor in their business.
That's cool. Aren't those the guys that did Square or something like that? Aren't those guys?
Yeah, they were involved in Square. I don't know to what extent they helped that platform.
I was supposed to meet them this time last year, and we just at an event in Tucson, in Scottsdale, and we didn't end up meeting up. But yeah, I think we've talked to them a couple of times. They're good dudes. Yeah, they are really good dudes, and I think the reason we invested was like I had a buddy who I grew up with. He played baseball at Texas A&M, is a management consultant now. And, I trust him, like, when it comes to investing. He's like he's a pretty good entrepreneur, rental properties, vending machines, all this stuff. And I'm like, Nick, if you want to do this, like, I'm in. Like, I trust what, we've heard them speak. And he's like, and I'm like, Nick, why do you want to do it? And he's like, I believe in them. Like, you don't invest in the product, you invest in the founders. And when we were talking to them, we asked them what their exit plans were, what their growth strategy was, customer acquisition, all this stuff. How we would make our money back. What's the safe agreement? How does it work? What does that mean for us? All 100 questions. But at the end of the day, we believed in them. We believed they had the right background to build something like this. So if we never see our money back, so be it. That's the risk you take when you invest in a business like that, right? But like we said at the beginning, like we want to grow the game, and part of growing the game means having to put your money where your mouth is at times. Exactly. So yeah, I was just thinking out loud there, thinking about growth, thinking about opportunities, right? It's kind of like the ESPN, Hulu, Disney bundle, right? It's like you could get individual, but it's actually cheaper to do all 3. And it's actually probably better for, whoever owns it. Was it Disney that owns all of them, like long-term, to have people buying the bundle. So I don't know. Could be an opportunity. Might not. Might go nowhere. Might go somewhere. Who knows? But anyways, is there anything else you want to talk about, Mullie? Before we break here. There will be some stuff coming up that I definitely want your support in. I can say we have a really big spring campaign with our partners, our investors, our friends, our figures, to kick off this new golf season and to invigorate or reinvigorate, if you're a current member, the marketplace. So that'll be exciting to hopefully work on with you. I know we have a very big top 10 golfer in the world that's going to be using the platform to sell some of his personal goods. So that's exciting. And then obviously having our good friends like Roger and Travis, kind of be the megaphones to help, get it out there, and you and your audience. That's just exciting. So that'll be probably announced in about 3 weeks, after all the madness of Super Bowl waste management kind of calms down, so we can have a clearer channel to use. But man, Clayton, I just want to thank you, dude, for having me on, and thank you for spreading our word. It's been a privilege to work with you, dude. It's been a privilege to have Mullie and the Esquire Golf, banners be next to each other, and have you be an advocate and ambassador for our marketplace. So I just want to thank you, man, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. It's my pleasure. And we wouldn't be doing it if you didn't reach out to me. So I really appreciate that. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's what I love about this community, is a lot of people are very supportive of each other. Absolutely. And I think the road for all of us is this. It's an uphill battle, but we're moving forward. And that's the cool thing about it. It's a grind, but it's a grind we love. And, we surround ourselves with the right people, good things are going to happen. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. And I'm really excited for it.
12 months from now, we can get back on this and you can give us all these updates, right? And it'll be crazy to think like, hey, you remember what we talked about 12 months ago? Well, we doubled what we thought we could do, right? And because I think once when people start understanding the opportunity of what Mullie can provide as sellers, like, why would you not want to be on that platform? And as it continues to grow, there are more buyers in the space, and there's a lot more unique goods on Mullie than you could get anywhere else. Like when I started doing the work with you, I highlighted someone called Evans Custom Golf, and like he's over the moon that like in our Cloud posts, like he gets to get highlighted and he gets to help his brand grow, which is like super cool. That goes back to like how we're getting back to the game. I want to help these small custom club builders get more attention because what they do is fucking sick. Like it's just, and they deserve to get recognition, and it's hard to grow. It's such a saturated space. And so it's an honor to be part of what you're doing and to help the game grow the right way. And I look forward to seeing, what Mullie is 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and the transformation it can help take the golf game. So
I appreciate that, man.
I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for kind of taking me in and involving me and making me feel appreciated. Like that doesn't go unnoticed, like it really. And I hope people who listen to this, like understand that like we want to support good people. So get on Mullie, download the app, start putting your items on there. I need to start doing that. Like I have a lot of old vintage clubs that I should start getting on there.
You do.
I have so much golf gear. I need to get on there. Just need some free time, especially probably once when this move happens and I start thinning stuff out. Yeah. It's going to happen. But last thing I wanted to say, this is totally made me think about it when you said the top 10 players going to be on the platform. One of my buddies invests in this business and I forget what it's called, but they like create a platform for pro athletes to sell their stuff. Right. And I forget what it's called, but he's an investor in it. I have to figure this out and I'll let you know offline. But it'd be cool if like somehow you guys work together. I don't know if they work with golfers. I think they're big in baseball, right? Like pro guys can sell their stuff or college athletes can go on and sell their stuff. And it's like a very curated platform, but it'd be cool if they had, a space on your platform.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
So just thinking out loud there again.
We'll talk about that at dinner on Wednesday.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Actually, I don't know what I have plans, but if you're okay with coming to dinner with the family,
well, at least I'm not going to go dinner with your family and interrupt that, but we'll definitely meet up at some point. If you're here, we'll definitely figure something out.
You like peg leg porker?
Oh, it's the peg leg is the best. I used to live right around the corner from peg leg. It was great. Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's where I'm taking Nicole. So we should meet up there, grab a drink, and shoot the shit.
Would love that.
I'm really looking forward to it. Again, thank you for your time. I know time is money, time is valuable, so I really appreciate you spending, your Monday night with me.
Dude,
really,
it's a pleasure, bro. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
All right, talk to you later, Michael.
Later, bud.
Peace. Bye.